Hi everyone, Yasmin Bakir here from Masa Health. Today I want to talk about a very interesting topic to me, which is my experience with ADHD. Now, there's so much that we can say about it, but today I want to talk about time management. Now, I do want to say, and I say this in every video, or hopefully I do, I am not diagnosing anybody. I am not telling you you have ADHD. I am not telling you how to address your ADHD. Everything I share here is my personal experience. Okay, so let's make that clear. So, what I do want to tell you or talk to you about today in terms of time management is a very recent realization that I had. So, I am Latina. Okay, I'm a Brazilian. I'm half Brazilian. I grew up in Brazil. I spent most of my life in Brazil. And if you know anything about Latinos, specifically Brazilians, we're always late to things, okay? And I always thought that the reason I was so bad at time management or the reason I was late to everything was because I was Latina. So I always blamed it on that. I needed an excuse, and that was my scapegoat. It was the fact that I'm Latina. And recently, as an adult, and really months ago, I'm 32, and this is, I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 21, 22. So it's been at least 10 years of me trying to better understand ADHD, even though I've had symptoms since I was a little kid. But of course, as a child, you develop strategies based on what you have going on there if you don't have the support of a professional. So really fully processing and understanding my experience is a new thing, only in the last 10 years, really. And still, I never really stopped to think about this properly. And so I just blamed me being late on being Latina. And it's funny because the Latinos in my life don't necessarily behave in the way I behave. And what I came to the realization of is that there's a difference between being late and having very poor time management skills. Now, I'm not using this as an excuse for anything, but I do think it's an important distinction. Okay, when people arrive late to events in Brazil and Latin America, various countries in Africa as well, it's an active choice. Okay, we don't want to be the first people there. We also don't want to be the last people there. You want to find like a great, the right time, just in the middle there. So if some starts at 2, and it goes runs from 2 to 10, you'll get there for around 4:30, right? Something like that. And yes, you're late, but it's not perceived as you being late. It's just, you wouldn't want to be the first person to get there. My parents would disagree. They're always early. That's a different story. But when it comes to me, for example, in my time management skills, it doesn't matter what time I pick to get there for. So the active part of getting there for 4:30, 5 p.m., which comes with my Latino culture, that's fine. Whatever. Yes, I don't want to be the first person there. And I don't want to be the last person there, so I need to find middle ground. But the point is that it doesn't matter what time I pick, I will be late. And I'm not saying that it's because I don't care, because that's not true. I'm not saying that it's because I just, didn't take various aspects of, life into account, like, delays with the tube or whatever. Because I do to a certain extent. But it's not that. It's that when I say I'm getting there for 4:30, it's really hard for me to plan ahead. It doesn't matter if I've known about it for a month in advance. The day of, it's a lot of pressure for me to get there for 4:30. And I'm like, nah, I'll do it later, because I don't want to feel that pressure of having to get ready and think about this and think about that. And think about the potential delays, for example. So I delay that activity as much as I can. But by the time I get to the point where I should have left, I'm just starting to get ready, or I'm halfway through. And that's when things get a bit out of hand. But what's funny about that is that a lot of people think that that means, oh, you're just late and whatever, that's just how you are. It's not. From the second I decide to get ready, all the way to the point where I arrive at the event, I'm stressed. I am stressed that I'm going to be late. I am stressed that people are going to think that, oh my God, like it's always her. She's always late. Now I don't mind as much, but so, and I think that that's the difference is, the active choice of being late, which in my case is very cultural, versus this thing of you combine the culture with my really poor time management skills. And, and it just never, it's just not the best combo all the time. But I do want to say this, this is not an excuse. I'm not saying, oh, I'll just be late and you just have to put up with it. People don't have to put up with it, okay? I'm not saying it's nice to be on the receiving end of it. What I'm saying is that there are bigger things in the picture here. Like, we need to really remember that things are not always a straight line. The world isn't binary, just I'm on time, I'm not on time. To a lot of people, there's something more. And in my case, there is something more. Again, it's not an excuse for being late. It really isn't. But I do want people to understand that when it comes to ADHD, it's not just about not paying attention. This is one aspect of it. I'm extremely impulsive. I'm extremely hyperactive. My thoughts go like this. You'll realize a lot of my videos are edited. And it's not because I'm cutting out anything that I said that I didn't want to say. It's because I'm telling you a story that could have been told in 1 minute. I'm telling you in 20. And then I go from here to there, and I can never come back to it. So, and yes, you can then take this video and say, well, but so many people are like that. Like, everyone's like that. It's not true. It's not true. You can have an experience that does overlap with this, but this is constant. It's not one event here, one event there. And it's not something that, oh, I'm just late and that's the reality of it. No, there's so much behind that. I get very stressed out being late. People don't think that I do, but I do. And I can genuinely say from the time since I've been diagnosed, which is 10 years ago, like I said, I can't remember events from the past 10 years, right? Not every single one of them, but most of them. I don't think I've been, early definitely not, but I don't think I've been on time to more than maybe 10. Once a year, I'm on time, and it's a struggle for me to be on time, because I don't see time in that linear fashion. And I'm trying. I really am trying. And I do want to say this, there are ways of managing that, addressing that, changing that. So don't think that because this is something that you're experiencing that, oh my God, I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. No, you don't have to. For me in particular, it's very hard. Developing those skills has been really hard, but I am working on it actively. And you can too. And if you don't know how to do it, we have tips that we have actually on the website. We gave a webinar last year or the year before with an expert on ADHD, so you should definitely check it out. Create an account and log in and check out the webinar. The recording is up on the website. We also have an ADHD guide that gives you a lot of amazing tips that came from that expert. And we have just in the daily lift section of the website also some, I believe, 10 tips for, managing your ADHD symptoms. So there's lots of good stuff on the website. There's lots of good stuff that we can discuss. If you want me to talk about any other aspects of ADHD or borderline personality disorder, please let me know. Put a comment down below. Share your experiences if you feel comfortable doing so. And let's keep talking about mental health.